that one event changed my life. And go, let the doors open. Trust me, you won't regret it.
You're listening to the Water Prairie Chronicles, a podcast that supports parents of children with disabilities by sharing the stories of individuals who have grown up with disabilities and the organizations available to help parents along the way. Stay connected with us by clicking the subscribe button and leave us a comment if you want to join in on the conversation. Today, our guest is John Davison. He's been involved with the Miracle League of the Triangle, and you've heard us talk about the Miracle League the last couple of weeks. But we wanted to bring John in because he's been involved in many different ways. So, John, welcome to the Water Prairie Chronicles.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So, all of our guests kind of introduce themselves. So I'm going to let you tell us about yourself first, and then I'll dig into the questions that I have for you.
Okay. I am not a native North Carolinian. I'm actually from the great Northeast, New Jersey, New York area. Spent most of my life there. I've got 2 children of my own, a daughter who's 21, another daughter who's 15, and 2 stepsons that are 8 and 6. I am a real estate agent and a real estate coach by profession. I am a recent divinity school graduate. I'm an ordained minister, and I run a nonprofit organization. So I am very involved in my community, enjoy it, and have loved the last 10 years with the Miracle League.
How did you first hear about the Miracle League?
Yeah, so the Miracle League was introduced to me by Chris Cohen. Chris is the father of Max. Max is a former player now in the Miracle League, from the Miracle League. And Chris is an announcer also with the Miracle League. And I met Chris at a business networking function. He had a little book that he had written that he was handing out to everyone. And he told us that all the proceeds were going to go to the Miracle League. And of course, that begged the question, what is the Miracle League?
Right.
And from there, Chris just opened the door and said, come on out one day and take a look at what the Miracle League's all about. And I went out on a Saturday afternoon, and that was my introduction to the Miracle League.
Nice. So those that are listening, if you haven't listened to the last 2 episodes of the Water Prairie Chronicles, go back and listen to episode 18 to hear Benji Capps talk about what the Miracle League is. And he gives a really good overview. And if you watch the video, you'll be able to see some images of some of the kids that are playing. And then last week, we also interviewed Robin Rose, and he talked about how to start one up. But it's kind of interesting to hear the beginning of one and how the community gets involved. So if you've missed those, go back and listen to 18 and 19. But today we're working on this one. So that'll kind of fill in the blanks if you're not familiar with what the Miracle League is all about. So when you first started, you were a buddy, is that correct? Was that your first step?
Yeah. The first time I came out, I buddied for one game, one day to get exposure to the Miracle League. And after that 1-hour game, I went back, sat in my car for about 45 minutes, and I completely broke down emotionally because I was so moved by the experience, the kids, the unconditional love that these kids just showed to everybody around them, how grateful they were for the volunteers that had come out. And I grew up for a long time as a child and an adolescent in the 70s and the 80s with a very good friend of mine who was on the autism spectrum and dyslexic. Now, back then in the 70s, you got that diagnosis and you were just lumped in to a group, and that was that. You were just labeled. So I grew up not even knowing my best friend had a learning disability. And eventually when we did it did get diagnosed and we did figure it out, I was able to reflect back on that and realize that the connection between us was an opportunity for both of us to sort of minister to each other, if you will, as neurotypical and special needs together and look beyond those labels and just see a friendship. Yeah. And so going out to the Miracle League that first day, obviously flooded by a lot of emotions and a lot of those memories that came back again. But it also drew a connection for me that touched my heart and made me realize so much of that servant mentality that I had over the years, that it had been with me since I was 5 years old. and I
Yeah.
didn't even realize it. So to see it come together in a formal setting like the Miracle League, just unbelievable. It was just an experience that I talk about over and over again.
You know, it's one of those things. I don't know anyone who has come even just to watch a game that hasn't had a change of heart, a change in compassion, being able to look at their neighbor differently, because it is. I think it goes beyond just appreciating what you have and are able to do. I think it's like you're saying, it's seeing that love and that acceptance. The kids that come out there, these are ordinary kids. They want to play ball, and they want to be
Right.
part of a team, and to see that they're able to be part of a team. Some of these kids, if they didn't find us till they were older, they've spent years being on the outside, and now they're on the inside. They're able to be part of a group, part of a club where they belong, and it's almost like we're coming into their territory now. And it really is emotional for a lot of people to come in and see it. Parents that are listening who have children who qualify to play, if you've never been out there, you're going to feel like you belong now. That you have people watching from the stands who understand how you feel. They know how many doctor appointments you've had, how many struggles with school you've had, things like that. And so you don't have to explain why you're having a good or a bad day, because everybody sitting beside you has had that same day as you have at some point. And
Right.
so I feel like the blessing goes beyond just the kids. It's the entire family and the community
Yeah.
that's supporting them. So you started as a buddy. So you had an hour one day, and then
One
it hit you
game.
there. So did you stay on as a buddy, or what did you do after that?
No, I immediately talked to Cindy and said that I'd like to be an assistant coach. So I started out with the little kids on Saturday morning,
Okay.
5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids. Started as an assistant coach for one season. Again, very short-lived, short career as an assistant. And they said, "Look, would you like to be a head coach?" Because I was able to take my organizational skills, into the coaching aspect, and it seemed to work really well. And it was something I wanted to do. And
Right.
so from that point, 10 years ago, I became a coach. I've been coaching ever since. I've morphed that into announcing. I've been announcing now for 4 years. And also, I've been an advocate for the league to bring volunteer groups and open up opportunities for people, my youth group at my church, my coworkers, my clients, and the people closest to me come out. We volunteer twice a year, just through my nonprofit organization, once in Raleigh, once in Cary. And then I also bring out my work crew once a year also to Cary. So, yeah, I've experienced every facet of it at this point. And it's just an opportunity to be an ambassador for a great cause. And I tell people all the time, when I announce, I close every season the same way. I say, I just want to let you know how grateful I am. I am probably the most selfish person, because for 10 years I keep coming back, not because I think I'm doing for others, but because of how much I get from being at that field with those kids, with those families, you know, Friday nights and Saturday mornings, 8 times every spring, 8 times every fall. It is just it fills me up. And I tell people, if you want to catch me on a good day, I can guarantee you by 12 o'clock on Saturday, when I'm done announcing those 2 games in the morning and I've had Friday night with my team, I am in the best mood on Saturday because I feel fulfilled. I feel so grateful. And it's these kids, just the way that they don't, it was amazing to go out and realize these kids are looking at us. They don't care what our political affiliation is. They don't care race, creed, color, religion, economic status. Doesn't matter. All they know is you're present, you're with them, and you're giving them your time. That's all they want.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing to experience. That it's a humbling experience for sure.
Some of the pictures that are coming to mind as you're talking, I'm picturing one of the boys that used to play on Emily's team when she was in high school. And he was getting too big for it, but he would run to his coach and jump on him. He had done that since he was 7, 8, whenever he started playing, and hadn't realized that he had grown so much. But but his coach would still grab him at the end, and he was ready for it when he come.
Yep. Yeah. It's true, because I've graduated up to like the high school kids now.
Yeah.
So the Friday night team is their high school age children, and yeah, these kids are big. Some of these kids are big boys.
Yeah.
There's some pretty big boys, and they can hit the ball a long way.
Well, they can't
So,
when they finally are strong enough to hit it over the fence. It's fun to watch them then because it just goes soaring and I mean,
yeah,
who doesn't like the feeling of hitting a home run, and hitting it
right.
over the fence?
Yeah. And that's so cool that the league recognized that aspect of things and then created the adult league and then the Wednesday night league for,
Right.
where it's like real baseball, outs and balls and strikes and all that stuff. So they have done a great job adapting along the way to keep
Yeah.
this thing available to these people that are players for the rest of their lives if they want to.
When we're in the Raleigh, Durham, Cary area of North Carolina, so there's two fields open now, soon to be a third one over in the Durham area. We're not sure where beyond that they may continue building, but at least in this area, there's we'll consider for all points and purposes. There's 3 fields right now. They're full pretty much every time that they're open, but they've done a great job organizing, I think, because they do, as you say, they've got the high school league. So now you have kids that are physically getting stronger and faster and coordinated enough to really hit the ball sometimes, not playing with kids that are little, that aren't ready for that and aren't watching for the ball yet. And then you have those more challenging options too for the kids who are able and interested in it. They have that Challenger League where they are playing a game of baseball. And as Benji said in his interview, they know who wins, but they also know who loses.
Right. On that team, that Wednesday night league, they do.
Yeah.
Sure, they do. But yeah, I had the good fortune to be able to announce a Wednesday night game last year.
Oh, fun.
At the USA ballpark.
Oh, wow.
Which was really neat for the kids. So we got to sit in like a real, announcer's booth, and they got to play on a real baseball field. And it's just opportunities like that to see USA baseball, the Mudcats, the Durham Bulls, all come together and create opportunities for these kids,
Yeah.
to feel like big leaguers. It's just great to see that spread throughout the community.
So going back a little bit, you mentioned a couple things, but before I get into that, I wanted to ask you about the coaching. What type of training did they give you when you made the step to become a head coach or even an assistant coach? What type of training did you get from that? Did you feel like you were ready to go when you got to the field the first time?
Yeah, the coaching, it's a good question. The coaching, we have a kickoff meeting at the beginning of every season. So the kickoff meetings now, we know what they're going to say because we've been through it so many times. But those first few, they break it down for you, the different roles of the coach. Are you going to be the pitching coach, the batting coach, the dugout coach? So they break it down, which is awesome. So you know what the roles are. And then as far as the actually being a coach, since I had coached Little League most of my life anyway, that aspect of it was second nature. Right. So for me to be able to go to the dugout coach and say, well, this kid's up to bat now, but you got to let the next one know to stand over here and the one after that to be up and ready in the dugout. So that kind of organizational stuff came naturally, but the league has videos and in-person training. Anybody can learn this stuff.
Good.
And chances are you're on a team that's got a seasoned coach that's been a coach in the Miracle League. So and they are right there to guide you through and to offer you opportunities to basically plug in wherever you want. I mean, there are some coaches, they love to stay in the dugout. And there are some coaches that don't want to get near the dugout because there's a lot of people in that dugout and they'd rather be out there pitching or helping them one-on-one. So there's a lot of opportunity, and the training sort of continues throughout the season, and then everybody just sort of grows into it.
But I think that something that we actually haven't mentioned in the last 2 interviews, I don't think, and you had mentioned being out pitching. The coaches pitch to the kids. The kids aren't pitching to each other, and they have a tee that they can use if they need it.
Right.
Volunteers, the buddies that are with them can help them swing if they need someone to help them with that part. Pretty much every child is unique in how they approach their at-bat, depending on what they need. And everyone successfully hits the ball, no matter how many pitches. I know, I think you pitched at least 20 at one point to Emily in one game.
Yeah. And that was mostly bad. Those are mostly bad pitches. That's why there were 20. So.
Well, you were pitching to a visually impaired child too. So that there is a point to that. So.
But yeah, I probably can't imagine how many pitches I've thrown yeah, over the years. And it's been nice to get some like younger folks come in. This season, I had two just out of college age uh, kids on my, I say kids because I'm
They
55,
are kids.
kids on
Yeah.
coaching on my team. And it was neat to be able to just turn the ball over to them and say, you guys go ahead and pitch if that's what you want to do, and just empower
Yeah.
them to embrace the opportunities that the Miracle League has to offer. And it's just phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, it's a great setup. The kids hit the ball. Every kid goes to second base on their hit, then scores on the next hit. So there's at least a structure to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that said, there are plenty of kids that go right past second base, and want to just keep running, and that's okay too. But it is awesome to see the kids all be able to get their hits. There's no balls, no strikes, no outs, and everybody bats through the lineup, so you get to bat 2 times every game,
Right.
and it always ends in a tie, which is great.
I've noticed on some of the Instagram sites that I've seen from some of the other Miracle Leagues, it looks like some of them may actually go to first base instead of to second. So I don't know if you're listening from outside of our area, whatever your local Miracle League does is what you'll do. But we're just giving you an idea on this one, how it's running with ours. But I know they have, I think, over 300 fields now that are open, and I'm not sure how many more in the works. And I'll go and make a note here while we're talking about it. If you're listening and you're wanting to find out if there's a field near you and you're not in our area, I'll put in the show notes the contact for the national office, because Stephanie there will be the one that you'll contact, and she keeps the active list so that even if it's not on the website yet, she'll be able to tell you what the closest one is for you. And if you don't have one near you, go back and listen to last week's episode and start one so that we can get it going in your area too. All right, so let's move on then. So the other thing that you mentioned was your nonprofit.
Yeah.
Tell me what this is and how you're incorporating that in with the Miracle League.
Oh, okay. So back in 2018, beginning of 2018, there was a family that I knew through the Miracle League, through my team. I coached their son, and they also had a daughter who was 15 years old at the time. And I got a text message on a Saturday morning from her mother, and her mother just told me, she says, I just want to let you know that my daughter passed away on Wednesday. Yeah, she died from suicide.
Okay.
And she said, the service is tomorrow. Do you want to be there? And I, naturally I took a step back, got back in the car, composed myself, and said, I do. And I want to bring my daughter, because my daughter was just a year older than this young lady back then. And she had struggled with depression and anxiety. My daughter had. And I knew there was a story behind Savannah.
Right.
And I went to the service, and it was just unbelievable to see a sanctuary loaded with all different kinds of people that loved this girl. And then to sit there, and I told my daughter, I said, if you ever think that you're alone in anything, take a look around, because there are people everywhere that love you. You are never alone. And I walked through that, and then the family, when I went to receive the reception line and receive the family, I had never quite seen shock up close before. And I could see how they were in shock.
Oh, yeah.
And how deeply emotional that was. And they said, the mother said to me, she says, we want to sell our house. Can you help us sell our house? Now, as a real estate agent, yeah, you want business, but not like this.
No.
Not like this at all. And for about 3 months, I would visit the house, and I met so many different family members as they were supporting this family, and got to know the story and could kind of draw my own conclusions as to what had happened and what she must have been going through. And it was tough. And I finally got to the point where they said, we're ready to talk about putting the house on the market. Well, long story short, I walked through this with them for about 1.5 years.
Wow.
And when we discussed the compensation, I said, I don't want to get paid to do this. And they were so kind, and they said, no, you're going to work for this. And I said, let's compromise. how about we donate the money? And I said, can you think of a cause? And they said, how about the Miracle League? Because we're all passionate about that. And I said, done deal. We went to the closing that after the house had been sold, went to the closing day. And I left the attorney's office and I sat in my car and I looked at the check, the commission check, and I knew where it was going to go. And something came over me. Something came over this divinity school student in his mid 50s who was struggling with where he fit and what his purpose was in life. And something tugged at me and said, this doesn't have to be a one-time donation. You can do this more than just this one time. And I tried to follow that feeling. And about 3 months later, after meeting with some people that run nonprofits, I said, I'm going to form a nonprofit. And that nonprofit, the goal of UB4ME Foundation is to take 5 local nonprofit organizations and promote them and support them in our community. Now, these are small nonprofits, like the Miracle League, relatively small compared to like the Red Cross or Wounded Warriors, and support these local people and give them the exposure that they deserve to their community. And what better way to do that than through real estate agents that are every day moving people into these communities.
Right.
And so that became the platform. And we support these 5 nonprofits, the Miracle League being one of them, in 2 capacities. One, financially. So the real estate agents, when they have a closing, they make a donation. But we insist that when the donation is made, that their clients review the 5 nonprofits we support and that they get to choose who the money's going to go to. So everybody's involved. Everybody has their hands on the decision-making process. That's one way we help to support these organizations financially. And we sponsor and support the Miracle League, Brown Bag Ministries of Apex, which feeds the homeless, Wake Up and Read, which is a literacy nonprofit in Raleigh, Chatham County Council on Aging, which supports the aged community, and then the Cora Food Pantry in Chatham County, which feeds the people that are marginal in the community, people of lower socioeconomic standing. So the other way we decided we would help was through volunteers. So we circle right back to what we talked about at the beginning when you asked me about being a buddy. And I said, we're going to help support these organizations. So when they have activities, we have a calendar of their activities, and they say, we need buddies for the Miracle League. We need people to bag bologna sandwiches for the homeless. We need people to put books out in these elementary schools in Southeast Raleigh. We go right to the real estate community. We tap the realtors and we say, what better way to work side by side, shoulder to shoulder with the very people that you do business with or have done business with. Let them come out. And if they have a heart and you have a heart, come out and do this together. And it creates an opportunity for us to plug volunteers in to the community. And the goal would be to continue to grow beyond 5 nonprofits. Our motto is, as long as everyone at the table is getting fed, we'll continue to invite people to the table. And that's what we do. The nonprofit has been, COVID sort of interrupted things back in 2020, but we've been going strong for a little over a year now and continuing to grow and continuing to expose the community to these 5 tremendous nonprofit organizations that are doing such good work.
I think it's a great idea. It's and the fact that the clients that you have coming in, you're exposing them, you're giving them a chance to be able to help, but you're also exposing them to being aware of what's in their community. It is hard whenever you first relocate, feeling like you actually belong and are plugged in. So I think it's great.
Yeah, and being in the nonprofit community now, I'm aware of more and more nonprofit organizations in the community. Our goal with UB4ME is to get it right and do it really well here, right now. And then, honestly, Tonya, my passion is going to be to continue to let my team handle our real estate business, and for me to slowly step further and further out into traveling and moving across the country into other communities where there are real estate agents that are passionate about taking this model and planting a you before me in St. Louis
That's
or
great.
Florida or Colorado, wherever they want. We've got the infrastructure to vet the nonprofits in those areas. And all we need the realtors to do, we just need one realtor kicks it off and gets it going. And the next thing you know, we can get into that community, build a real estate based community that can then bring their clients in. And then it becomes this, I'm a divinity school student, so, excuse the reference, but just like they said back in, after Jesus had done his ministry and ascended, and Paul, his job then was to plant those churches all around the Mediterranean, and he did just that. And we've thought of that model of planting you before me all around the communities throughout the country, so that someday it can be a large network that's just all moving towards the same cause, strengthening neighborhoods, making neighbors, and giving everybody the exposure to these nonprofits that the nonprofits, quite frankly, deserve, because these people work really hard and they are definitely not in it for the money.
Right. Well, I'm gonna put the link for that organization in the show notes too. So if you're listening and you're in real estate, check this out. Connect with John. See, maybe you can find a few contacts.
I will talk to anybody from anywhere that has a heart that's passionate about this stuff, because it definitely gets me going.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing about that, because I was really intrigued when I first saw your website. I thought it's great what you're doing there, and knowing that your larger picture of where you're heading to is encompassing so much more. I think it's great. And like you say, it's serving the local community. You're just giving them the organization to get it going and to kind of oversee the protections and all while they're doing that. So I could see it easily being able to roll it across.
Yeah. There's one other thing I don't want to fail to mention this, because it's really important to me. This was super important. When we did start You Before Me, the U4ME Foundation, our first agenda item was to create 3 $500 scholarships for the Miracle League of the Triangle, for families of the Miracle League of the Triangle. So what we do is we hand applications out at the beginning of the season and say, if you know anybody that might just need a hand right now, maybe they're going through a tough time, we've developed these 3 scholarships, created them. And what we do is we take the applications, our board reviews them, and then at the end of the season, we announce who the 3 recipients will be. And we've done this one season already. This past season was the second season. We haven't awarded them yet, so I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. But and what we did was, these are called the Savannah Mole Educational Scholarships. And that's a living legacy to Savannah's life, because our theory, every life is precious.
Yes.
And we wanted the goodness, and that was Savannah, to be able to live on. And we're able to do this now in perpetuity for the Miracle League and the families.
Nice. So is this for any age child and any type of need that they might have? Or are there restrictions?
As long as they're a Miracle League player.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as they're a Miracle League player, they're eligible. Once somebody's awarded, $500, we will wait a season, at least one season, to be able to make them eligible again. But pretty much anyone's eligible. And the beauty is, we're giving everyone there the opportunity to nominate someone else. They can nominate themselves, or they can, in anonymity, say, and I know that, like, the first season we gave it out, COVID was still a thing, back in 2021. And there were 3 families that were adversely affected. And we were able to, award them with the $500. And
nice.
The days I got to stand there and take the pictures, for our foundation website to say, hey, man, we are trying to make a difference. Those were the best days. And the thank yous. And the phone calls, at first the phone calls I got from the 3 families, and the tears and the gratefulness, was not what I expected.
Right.
Was not what I expected. And it was, so we're doing that each, like I said, each year we're going to keep doing that, and just hopefully blessing the families that bless us every time we're out there.
That's great. All right, so before we finish the interview, I just wanted to ask you, for anyone that's considering volunteering, whether it's as a buddy, as an announcer for the games, as a coach, as an assistant coach, in any way, do you have any advice that you would pass on to them?
Yeah, this is very deep. Just do it. Seriously, just do it. Don't talk yourself out of it. Don't imagine what it might be. I would just tell people, and I did this with my daughters. Both of them have been volunteers, buddies, coaches, assistant coaches with my team. And one of them actually worked for the league as like a field manager. Yeah. So I would just say, just go out and do it. Don't think about it. Just get to the league, go to the website. There's a volunteer button there. You can sign up to be a volunteer. Go out and do it. Be a buddy for one game. And 1 hour will change your life. 1 hour changed my life 10 years ago. And it's impacted my life in a way that I just don't think I'd be where I am today if I hadn't gone out. Because some guy said, oh, I'm selling this book and giving the proceeds to the Miracle League. I'm like, brother, I'm here for real estate. This is supposed to be a business networking meeting. Wherever you are, you're there for a reason. Listen to what's going on around you, because the purpose of you being there may not even be why you thought you were there. I thought I was there for a networking event. 10 years later, that one event changed my life. And Chris has become a good friend. Chris and Michelle, the family, and Max, just has opened up so many doors. Go, let the doors open. Trust me, you won't regret it.
Great advice. I could not have said that any better. Now it's time for everyone's favorite part of the interview. It's our speed round. The speed round is 10 questions. 3 are open-ended. You can say whatever you want as long as it's appropriate, or you can just pass. And then the last 7 are either-or questions. So you're just choosing one or the other. You can pass and you can say both, so there really are no rules. So,
okay, good.
And you can even make up another answer if you don't like what I give you.
Yep.
So first question, what's your favorite color?
Blue.
What was the last book that you read?
Start With Why by Simon Sinek.
All right, what's your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
All right, so the rest of these are all either or questions. So cake or ice cream?
Both.
I think that's the first both on that one.
Yep, both.
Batman or Superman?
Superman.
Ocean or mountains?
Mountains.
Winter or summer?
Summer.
Ooh, you mixed up there. Usually it's mountains and winter, ocean and summer.
Yep.
Watch a movie or read a book?
Watch a movie.
Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Oh, you know what? I'm going to say Harry Potter because my daughters love it. And I have like nothing in common with my daughters when it comes to books and movies and sports, because they're not into sports and I'm not into Harry Potter. But I have learned more about this Harry Potter stuff over the years from the two of them. So I'm going to say, for them, I'm going to say Harry Potter.
All right, Twitter or Instagram?
Instagram.
John, thank you for taking the time to share your experience as a volunteer with the Miracle League.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you, Tonya.
All right, thanks. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
You've been listening to the Water Prairie Chronicles. Any resources mentioned during this episode will be posted in the description. If you're interested in joining us as a guest, contact us through the links in the description below. Be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. We appreciate your support as we build this resource. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week for a new episode.